All right, it's more hard.
So yeah, I don't know if this is hard for you, but this feels hard for me lately, or in general, I guess the last few years, where it's like I almost take for granted those times where you get really obsessed with a game. Like like you mentioned Brigandine. That was like a period I was super fucking into Brigandine. Like Brigandine, Legend of Runersia, and then I went and played Brigandine, the old school version of Brigandine. I beat Brigandine like I think between the two games, I think I beat both of them like 5 times in like a 2 month period. That's how into it I was. That's how into it I was. And I'm like sitting here now after like beating Guardians of the Galaxy the other day. I'm like, man, I like it's really hard to capture that like really that like moment, the period of time where you're really into a game, like I really liked Guardians, but it didn't like grab me the way like something like Brigandine did, or what's another example from this year, like Hades did for a while. Where it's like you're really like it's so fucking fun, you just want to keep playing it, that
Yeah.
like feeling. It just, most games just they don't give me that anymore. A lot of the time I kind of feel like I'm just like doing it because I like my brain is telling me I have to do it, like that happened with Mass Effect. That's why I had like a 6 month hiatus between the beating all of the game.
Well, that's funny. I mean, I usually don't super deep dive into it for months. I wish I could, but I don't know. My brain doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
But the game I did do that with, like, I was obsessed with it for about maybe a month or two. Was Scarlet Nexus. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I was really obsessed with that game.
Mhm.
And then I just dropped it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was
Right.
obsessed with it for about a month straight. I was playing the fuck out of it. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
isn't that like fun though? I wish every game felt that way, and it's just like it. I don't know. Some games don't have the spark, like Guardians is really good. I'll get into it later, but like it's really good. But I wasn't like chomping at the bit to play it. I wasn't like thinking about it at work, kind of thing. I was kind of, I come home and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play some Guardians, and then I'm playing it and it's fun. I'm having a good time, but I don't know that like that like these some of these games, some games just they're like a worm in your brain where you can't like you can't stop thinking about them, and I just wish I could
well,
get that more.
I know we would probably hate to admit it, but
Mhm.
the games that really did that for me this year was League and Apex. For
Mm.
some reason this year, both those games were like stuck in my head. And then when Halo came out, like even though it's only been out for like a month, right, a month and a half,
Mhm.
uh, like I still come home and consistently play it for about an hour.
Yeah.
Like I give about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and then I stop playing it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the multiplayer games really do that, and
Mm.
I guess you can count like at one point we were doing that with Final Fantasy, like all of us were like playing that,
Yeah. Oh, that was a
and it
really fun time.
yeah,
Man.
and
Yeah.
I didn't consider myself like um I was looking up information on it and I
Yeah.
was doing all that shit and I was actively coming home and playing it because I wanted to, not because I had to.
Right.
So I mean,
Well, we
I
were
guess
all,
I
dude. There was like a 3 month period where we all got on the Discord like every night over the summer. It was
yeah
pretty awesome actually.
yeah
Looking back on it, because yeah, eventually it kind of died away in September. People stopped getting on every night, myself included. But yeah, I mean, okay, all right. Let's some of this discussion we're gonna have when we talk about the games we want to talk about. So let's just get into the show proper. Hi everybody. We started recording a few minutes ago. Uh, Welcome to the Players Take. This is episode 150. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice. Montrell, 150 episodes. Did you ever, when we started doing this 3 years ago, did you ever think we would get here?
Is this the anniversary episode?
Yes, actually, I think it is. Like, this is legitimately the one. I think this might be 3 years on the dot, or at least our recording of it is like 3 years on the dot of our first episode.
Okay, yeah, we started in my closet, which is
Yes, it
very
did.
funny.
2 episodes. It's funny we did 2 episodes in your closet. Oh my god, that's crazy, dude. We shoved ourselves into like a, what would you call that? Like maybe a 5x4 closet or a 5x5 closet.
I still don't know how the fuck we did that shit.
Like no, what am I saying? 5x5. It's probably like realistically like 4x3 or something like that, right? Like
Bro,
I don't
I don't know
either.
how we did it.
Dude, I remember coming out of that closet like just
Sweaty.
sweating, just sweating. So no, the brilliant as we are, we stopped using Montrell's place after the second episode. And we started using mine, and then we started using my closet, which is bigger. It's a bigger closet. We could fit like a whole
Yeah.
table in there, and it was a lot more spacious. But then we we were still sweating like fucking pigs though after every episode in my closet. I remember it was just like I'd come out of there and be like, God, dude, I'm just sweating. It was awful. But there is something really nostalgic about those times. It was simpler, man. It was simpler times, dude. That was like the beginning of it, you know. But I mean, we don't even record in person anymore. We haven't done that in what, like a year and a half,
A
probably
year and a half, yeah.
something like that. So
Yeah, since the beginning of COVID. So
yeah, right. So it's hey man, it's been a good run. I think you know, I don't know. I'll be honest. I knew you were the right partner for me. Like I think we both knew that about each other, but I didn't know how far we would go. And like here we are, 150, you know. So honestly, man, here's to 150 more, you know.
holy shit. Hell yeah. If I was drinking something, I got water, but
I
you
got my
know.
water. So everybody, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you have a question for us, please send them to theplayerstake01@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter at theplayerstake, and we'll love to answer your question on the show. All right. This episode is our Between the Holidays episode, where we are going to talk about our games of the year for 2021. So we've been kind of teasing this for a while that this was going to be a weird games of the year episode compared to years past. We are not making a ranked list. We're not going through like our top 5 for the year or anything like that. We're not going to name a formal game of the year either. It's going to be more of a kind of just casual discussion again, I guess, about what games we enjoyed in
Yeah,
2021.
yeah, primarily because I mean, you can ask everyone. I think the industry and everyone in video games feel like this about this year.
Mm-hmm.
This year's been lacking in games. Now if you're an indie person, then you had like the best year of your fucking life. I
Mm-hmm.
just started diving into indies this year, so I'm still discovering stuff. Like I'm currently playing Death's Door right now, and I'm loving it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I downloaded another indie game. Oh fuck! It's like a Fire Emblem ripoff. It's on the Switch. It was
Oh,
$2.
um,
Ah man, I can't remember the name of it.
oh, no, I'm thinking of a different one. There was one on Steam that was made by the creator of Fire Emblem, I think, called Vistaria Saga.
No,
That
it's
came
not
out a
that.
couple years ago. I've
Okay.
been meaning to play that.
Yeah, this was made. This is clearly made by a fan of Fire Emblem. Um, but yeah, it's like $3 on the Switch, and I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought a couple other Switch games that were on sale because they had like a huge sale going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just loaded up a couple indies. I'm probably gonna try to play through those or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm really starting to get into indies, and they're starting to be of quality because they're leaving that that retro phase that they're going through. And I know that was because of like time constraint, time and
Mm-hmm.
money and things of that nature. They didn't have the ability to build 3D worlds and stuff like that on the drop
Mm-hmm.
of a whim. But now with like Unreal 5 and other tools that are coming out, like these indie developers are building some really cool shit. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for a lot of next indie games to come out next year as well. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you say that, and I feel like next year is going to be hard on indies because the regular industry, the rest of the industry, I feel like is actually going to come to life and really compete for our time next year. So, which actually, speaking of, I do want to say before we get too deep here. So this episode's going up between Christmas and New Year's. The week after New Year's, we're going to be doing our preview for 2021 games we're looking forward to, or sorry, 2022. 2021. God, I can't believe it's 2022, dude. Like hurts my brain to think that COVID's been around for 2 years in our lives, but is what it is. So yeah, so look forward to that. A preview of the year in a couple weeks. Well, a week from when you're hearing this. All right, Montrell. So I kind of want to just get into it. Do you want to start, or you want me to go first? I have a longer list, it looks like, but I don't know how long I'm going to talk about a lot of these games, because I think for me, I've talked about a lot of these games like if you go back through the year and listen to all of our shows, like I've talked about these games to a ridiculous degree. So,
Yeah.
but so yeah, I'll get us started, I guess. So this didn't come out this year, but this was the first game I played in 2021, and it was probably, if I'm looking back on the whole year, this was probably the best game period that I played the entire year. And that's Persona 5 Royal, which came out last year, 2020. But yeah, this game was just like phenomenal from front to back. We were talking about, games you kind of obsess over and like play to a ridiculous degree. This was that game for me for sure to start the year, and I'm glad I played it finally, because I just, man, it hit me at the right moment. I needed like a really deep RPG, but that was like really like dialogue heavy. I needed something like that, and Persona 5 is the perfect game for that. So this game just like, it's just everything about it is so great. The combat's super good. The animations are just, phenomenal. They're over the top. They're so like exaggerated, but they're so like good. They're cool, all the characters in the game are really awesome for the most part. They're really like, I can't even really think of that many that are like weak links within the game. Like I just, Atlas Team's ability to execute a Persona game is I can't fathom like how good they are at this, because they make this series better than almost any company makes their own games. Like they're one of the best studios in the world. So
Yeah.
given that, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think because Atlas, I really haven't heard any kind of time constraints with them.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they give them all the fucking time they need when they make a Persona game, because they know they're gonna
Well,
recoup the money.
yeah, I don't know how long the game was in development, but the gap between Persona 4 and 5 was 9 years, I think. Persona 4 came out in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And Persona 5 came out in 2017 originally. So, obviously there were other games in there. They made Catherine. Obviously, they made a Shimigami Tensei game. I think Shimigami Tensei 4. I think that came out in like 2013 or something like that. So I think they had probably 4 years or maybe 5 to make Persona 5. But so given that, I'm really looking forward to Persona 6. Which I'm thinking they're going to announce at the end of this, like, anniversary thing they're doing, where they're making like 7 announcements or whatever they're doing. So that's my hope,
Well,
at least.
yeah, it has been 4 years since it came out in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. It
okay,
has.
and then by
Yeah.
next year it will be 5 years. So okay,
Yep.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be out. I think it'll be out by 2023 or beginning of 2024. That's kind of my thought right now. But
Well, now the pressure's on them because Shimigami Tensei is like up there now. It's super
mm-hmm.
mainstream now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah. And people really like that game.
yep.
I might play it soon. Um, since I finished Guardians, I'm not like playing anything right now. I think that might be one of the next games I jump into. But
Okay.
all right, Montreal, what's your first game you want to talk about?
My first game, I want to hurry up and get out the way. Actually, I'm gonna delete this. Well, I'll put it on there. I played it this year. Um,
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah, we
I
can
still have
both
a
talk
love
about
hate.
that.
Yeah, I still have a love hate relationship with this game because I love the game, the gameplay of it. I think the world is cool.
Mm-hmm.
The the monsters you have, even though we complain that there aren't that many monsters, I
Mm-hmm.
am proud that they didn't have so many wyverns. There were actual other types of monsters like bear monsters, fucking
Yep.
bug monsters, and all that
Yep.
shit.
Yep.
So I did like that. And I think the monster variety would have sufficed if there was just enough armor and weapon content to keep me interested, but there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't.
Right.
So that's why I'm like hurt and getting this out the way, because the way that Capcom released this game, I'm gonna blame it on COVID, and I'm gonna blame it on Capcom. I'm not gonna blame it on the Monster Hunter team itself. I think Capcom kind of rushed it out, and I think a lot of other things. Japan had really really strict lockdowns as far as COVID, so I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure the way the reason it was released this way was because of a combination of executive decision and COVID. So I'm going to give it a pass when Sunbreak comes out. I'm still going to play it. I'm still probably going to love it. But this was probably one of my most disappointing Monster Hunters since uh I'll say since
3.
Try You. Yeah,
Yeah.
since Try
3.
You. So
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat with it. I think I think we were pretty hard on Rise. I think Rise has been pretty universally praised, I'd say. But we've seen enough of Monster Hunter at this point to expect better from the team than this, and
yeah.
I think your assumptions are probably pretty close to the mark. I think COVID derailed this game's development, probably in a big way. And then it created a convenient excuse for executives to be like, oh, it's fine. Just push it out. You guys can add content later, which is what they ended up doing with
Yeah.
it. And it just was a real disappointment for me. So I'm actually like kind of really looking forward to Sunbreak. That's what it's called, right? The DLC for the
Yeah.
game.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm actually starting to really look forward to it now that I think about it, because dude, if they give us the monster lineup that we want, like out of a G rank game, like an ultimate game, and then with this game's gameplay, uh, dude,
Yeah, we're
we're
about to
done,
go.
bro. We're done. When that shit comes out, man, we're gonna be fucking like, our friends are gonna be like, oh god, they're getting into Monster Hunter again. I guess we should buy it, you know?
No,
Because
they're gonna keep playing Apex, man. They're gonna keep playing Apex.
oh my god,
Because
nah, man,
remember last time this happened. Last
yeah,
time this happened.
yeah.
First of all, we hated World. Like
Mhm.
we were not. We didn't hate World. We were just like on the
It's
fence
just
with it.
Iceborne. We wore ourselves out on it, and the Clutch Claw was really uh, not great, you know.
But that's what I'm saying though. When Iceberg came out and the Clutch Claw wasn't even great. We
Yeah.
put like
Oh yeah,
at least 200 hours in
400.
that game.
I feel like it was 400 hours, man. Montrell. I mean, we told the story a million times, but I think we played 2 months solid, like straight. Like it was because it came out in September, right? It was like the beginning of September was Iceborne, and I
Yeah,
don't think we stopped playing together until November, right? Like that's kind of my memory of it, but I don't remember 100%, but yeah, like so that's what I'm saying about Rise. Like we think Rise has better gameplay than World does, right? And
yeah,
you
100%.
take that and give us the monster roster of like Iceborne with new environments, and man, I already know they added Valstrax, which is a monster that I was like really desperate for them to add to Iceborne. So that's already in Rise, and I'm like, man, that's really exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. To be honest, I think I kind of want to go. I think I want to go super deep in it. And I really hope our friends join us. I know Andy will for sure.
Yeah,
But I'm hoping Jet and Snakes will get back into it, which I think they will. To be honest, the issue we had with Rise was that they got into it late, both of them,
hmm
and it took them a little time to catch up. Specifically to you, you were like way ahead of everybody. So I'm kind of like planning. I think I'm gonna get it day one, and I think I'm just gonna dive in, and I'm kind of hoping we all get it together and just plan to play. The
Well,
like
no, I
five or
have to
six of
catch up
us.
with you guys, so I'm probably gonna play like a month before Sunbreak comes out and finish
Hmm.
it. That way I caught up with y'all as far as like
Okay.
that content and everything, and then I'm gonna get it day one with you.
Hmm.
Cause
Yeah.
I'm getting it day one, so
Yeah.
that's not even a no brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. That feels like a no brainer. So, there's a little peek of your preview of 2022, guys. We're looking forward to Sunbreak. What's the release date of that? Is that in March or is it summer? They're doing summer for that one.
I actually don't know. I've been keeping my eyes closed on this one, to be honest with you.
Do you want me to go
Uh,
look?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. Yeah. Sunbreak. Let's see. What's the release date? Uh, Come on. Did they actually announce a release date?
Oh, okay. No, this is
Wait.
that can't
Wait.
be right.
That can't be right.
Yeah, no.
That can't be
Okay,
right.
okay. I'm gonna the official page is summer 2022.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, you saw the top thing in Google too, right? It said
Yep.
January 12th, 2022. I'm like, wait, what? No. That would have been insane. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was summer. I think that's a good window for it. It kind of gets it away from all the AAA stuff in February and March and
Yep.
gives enough space that this game can kind of have its own window of time where it kind of takes over. So I think that's a great time. I think June or July would be perfect for me. So that, hey,
Yeah, because
that's
we
good.
don't really go outside. It's Texas, y'all. Like I don't go outside during.
No, bro, it's like fucking 80 outside today. Like it's December 23rd. It's gonna be in the 70s and 80s for the next week. Like I fucking can't with this state sometimes,
Yeah,
Like,
man.
yeah,
Uh,
but
yeah, only time I go out is when Andy's like, "Hey, a barbecue at my place." I'm like, "All right, cool." But even then, it's just he
yeah.
does it at night. He does all his barbecues at night during the
Yeah, yeah,
summertime.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so what's your game? Or that's your turn, right? Yeah. So what's
Um
your next
do you
game?
have anything else besides what you have written here? Is there anything else you're going to talk about or no?
These are the only ones I'm going to talk about.
Okay. So
Uh,
I guess I'll go because I have a longer list.
okay.
So the next game I want to talk about is Neo 2. This is another game that came out last year. But COVID like derailed it for me and I never got into it. So this year I got super into this fucking game, Neo 2. To the point that like I was so obsessed with this game at one point that I had 4 different playthroughs going of it. Um that was at the peak of my like derangement. I was playing a game with my brother, I was playing a game with you, and then I had 2 different characters going on my own that I was playing as well for whatever reason. I don't remember why, but yeah, that's what happened. And this game, so realistically, we didn't get very far. I think we only did like what 4 of 5 of the main missions or something like that. And then we kind of tapered off together. But my brother and I got through 3 4 full playthroughs, I think, like of the higher difficulties like that you unlock after you beat the game. We
Okay.
got all the way. We were basically on the apps like the cusp of the final difficulty like in the game. I think it was like Way of the Neo, I think is the final one. Um
Why'd you guys stop?
uh I think that was right around the time. I want to say it was either Rise came out, then we were really playing. I think it was Rise. I think Rise is what did it, from what I
Okay.
remember. Because I was playing with him in like February, March, and April, Neo. But I kind of want to go back and finish it because we didn't get all the way through it, and there's some stuff I still wanted to do in the game. But yeah, this game is so good, man. I can't. I don't understand people who like Dark Souls and don't like this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you like your gameplay slow and plotting, but not me, man. No, Neo 2 is all about speed, baby. Speed, speed, speed is my shit. This game is it just feels so good. Like, I mean, I think you can attest, man. Like the combo system in the game is fucking nuts. Like when you get deep into the skill trees, it's just fucking insane. Some of the shit you can do with your character, and it's just so fucking fun. Like I had so much fun with it. There's so much depth to it as well. Like the stat system is actually really detailed and deep in the game, and these things like really are meaningful with your character build. How much like damage you do, like you can like key damage you do to enemies and stuff like that, and there's just so much to it. It's such a good game. If you like Soulsborns at all, and you like a game like I don't know, like Ninja Gaiden or some faster paced action games like maybe like Metal Gear Revengeance or something like that. This game I think will definitely work for you. So
Yeah, like see that's to me it's not even an accurate description. Like because just coming from like the Soulsborne franchise, this game does have the stats and everything, but
Yeah.
it's more so of a. I mean, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but more so acts like an ARPG.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, it definitely is. I'm just talking like the mechanical feel of the game, I guess,
Oh yeah,
is kind
yeah,
of what I
yeah,
mean. Not the statistical systems. Yeah, this is like Grim Dawn Diablo 2 level, like deep in terms of his stat systems and gear and progression and stuff like that. And I'd
yeah.
say it's deeper than those games. Well, maybe not Grim Dawn, but it's definitely deeper than Diablo 2 for sure. But like that's like that. I think that's the only barrier to entry is if you're intimidated by giant skill trees and like tons of loot and like huge amounts of stats in an RPG. That will be a definitely a hill you will have to climb over to enjoy this game. But it's
I
worth it,
think it's
man.
worth it. Yeah, I think it's worth it because the combos you can like your combos and your stats go hand in hand, so you can
Mm-hmm.
do like crazy stuff
Yep.
um, that you see probably online people doing, but you just need to invest in it and stuff like that. So
I mean,
I
I saw you
personally
doing
can't.
some crazy shit with fists, man. I
Oh
remember those
yeah,
Twitter clips.
yeah. So I personally can't wait. Like this game because I didn't really play Neo 1 that much, but Neo 2 I played it with you and I played it some more after you. Um and I personally can't wait for the Final Fantasy type or I said type O, but Final Fantasy Origins.
Oh yeah,
Is that what it's called?
Stranger of
Final
Paradise. Yeah, that's
Stranger of
what it is.
Paradise.
Yeah.
Because that game looks like it's going to go not further, but like it's going to incorporate the Final Fantasy system into it, and
Mm-hmm.
then the combos they just showed. I don't know if you talked about it last week because you didn't release the episode yet, but
Mm-hmm. I
uh,
didn't.
okay, but yeah, that game. I sent it to Justin because it looked so cool. Like when they just show, because I
Mhm.
didn't know what to expect from the game, and then when they showed the combos, I'm like, "Fuck yes, I'm."
I'm telling you, the combat's going to be good. I'm pretty convinced of that. The rest of it, I, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be a meme fest. The rest of it probably, but that's fine. I don't care if the gameplay is fun. Like, dude, I a game like Final Fantasy Origins is like kind of my dream game. Like an ARPG style, action style Final Fantasy game with like Final Fantasy items, Final Fantasy stats, Final Fantasy fucking spells and abilities and shit and classes and jobs. Like, dude, that's fucking like that's a match made in heaven, you know? I do personally wish they hadn't gone with the aesthetic they're going with. That is like the only thing that's like negative about that game for me. But
Yeah,
I kind of wish they had gone more cartoony with it. More of like the Final Fantasy like 4 and 5 kind of style. Um,
yeah,
but it is what it is. I mean, they did what they did. I still don't think the game's going to be bad as a result. So yeah, I mean, these guys know gameplay, man. They know how to make good gameplay. Like so.
yeah. I'm just gonna make one prediction. I think this game's gonna sell well, and I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna do the Neo route where they had a main character. I can't whose name Will, right? His name is Will.
William, yeah.
William. So they had William in Neo 1 because that was like their test game, right? They're like, okay, we're gonna see if this game kind of sells or whatever. And it did. And then Neo 2 came out and they just went balls to the wall. You create your own character. This is an ARPG style game.
Hmm.
And I think they're gonna do that with I'm getting the feeling they want to do that with this game as well, but they just trying to test the market first before they do it again. Like they're probably going to do a Final Fantasy
Yeah.
Origins 2 or some shit like that, and they're gonna you can
Yeah.
create your own character and stuff like that. So
Well, yeah.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, that guy Jack, the main character. I
Mhm.
believe the point of the game is to he like becomes Garland, the main villain from Final Fantasy 1. Like
Mm,
that's what the game is going to show us. So is like his
okay.
journey to become that. So I believe that's what I've read, but we'll see, I guess. But so yeah, Neo 2 really good. Check it out. There's ton of fucking content too. Like more you could play the game for hundreds of hours and still have shit to do. So if you need a game to deep dive into, Neo 2 is it. Um okay, Montreal, what's the next game you want to talk about?
Next game we're going to talk about is Tales of Arise.
Mm.
We both had this game on here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I have a
so I mean,
question
we
mark
are.
next to my entry.
I as much as I harped on the game, I did enjoy the game. It's just not, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, RPG of the year, which is a whole different discussion.
Right.
But
Right.
well, I guess we can have this discussion actually because we are talking about quote unquote games of the year. It's not RPG of the year by far. I don't think it is. I think the game severely lacks at the end of it. Um, it drops off
Yeah.
really hard. The story drops off really fucking hard. We got the point at the end of the game. I was like, I get the fucking point, y'all. I get it.
Yeah.
Racism bad,
Yeah.
fucking slavery bad. We get it.
Was that even
Like,
was that even the point at the end of the game
you
though?
know
Like,
what? I don't. You know what? You're right.
I
It's not
don't
the
know
point of it. That what?
anymore. Like all the racism in this world was fake. Like it was manufactured by
That's
the
true.
will
That's
of the
true.
planet. Like,
That's true. So you know what? I don't know.
God
Captain
damn
Planet, Go Planet. Like I don't know.
this is why I put a question mark, everybody. Like, I really
I
enjoyed
can.
the first like half to 2/3 of this game. Like, really enjoyed it, and then it
I'm
falls
sorry,
off a cliff.
Justin. I
Yeah.
completely forgot what happened. What the fuck happened at the end of the game?
Remember, like the okay.
I remember the. I
He
remember
blacked
the
it
hell.
out. He blacked it out. All right,
I
I'm gonna
remember.
spoil it because I don't care. This isn't good storytelling, so I'm actually saving. If you get spoiled by this, I'm saving you. Okay. Uh, so at the end of the game, remember there's the will of the planets, right? Will of Dana, will of the planet Rena, and then the planet
Yeah,
Rena turns out that the planet Rena is not a real planet anymore.
it's a
It
flower
just
planet.
yeah, it just looks like a planet from the surface of Dana because they see the side that's still like planetory that you can like land on or whatever.
Yeah,
But the rest of the planet is just like a giant it's broken. Like the planet got basically destroyed by the will of Rena. Like its own will destroyed it for whatever fucking reason. Um,
oh yeah, the
which was
giant
the what was
monster.
it, astral energy or whatever. Like
Yeah, the astral
astral
energy.
energy formed to such a degree that it became like a sentient being that was trying to conserve itself essentially. So yeah, so it created it took Danans off the planet of Dana, right, and brought them to the planet Lenegus, or that like moon or whatever the fuck it is,
Well, it
Lenegus.
was the Helgenquin, right? The
Yes, the
Helgenquin people
Helgan
did.
Quill. Yeah, the Helgan Quill. Uh yeah, I don't remember how they were. I don't exactly remember how they were involved. They became servants of the will of the planet of Rena, and
That's
then they
true.
like they lost their identity as like their own people, basically. So they all were dead, basically. Like it was so yeah. The will of the planet, the Helgan Quill, go and steal people off Dana, and they take them to Lenegus, right? And they
Yeah.
build this whole base, this whole like city in Lenegus, and then they over the course of 300 years they convince these people that they are Renans, like they are from the planet Rena that is not a real planet, and that they are superior to the Danans. So they like propagandize them to be racist towards Danans, and it's all bullshit because they're actually just Danans who were kidnapped by aliens, basically. It's so stupid.
And this game got game RPG of the year,
Yeah,
y'all.
this is like, dude, if this game is RPG of the year, this was one of the worst years for RPGs we've ever fucking had. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I fucking can't with it. You know, it's just,
Oh, because I do
yeah.
remember one part though. I remember the
Yeah.
part where the fucking scientists. You asked the scientists, right? Like, if you knew about this, why didn't you tell anybody? They were like, I didn't want to interrupt the experiment or some bullshit like that. It was the most dumbest shit I've ever heard of my fucking life. And I
Yeah.
almost put the game down. If I wasn't at the
Yeah.
end of the game, I would have put the game down right there.
Yeah, like it's so bad that like wouldn't it have been better? This game would have been an 8, right? This game probably would have been an 8 if they had just done what the story was leading to, where the Renans are actually just a bunch of racist assholes and it's a real planet and
Yeah.
like they have a real society and they're fucking assholes. Like instead of trying to do this weird twist, you know? Like if they had actually made the Renin society and like made it a part of the game, that would have been better. Like straight up, just the simple version, the predictable version of the story of the plot would have been better, in my opinion. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's where we both said that we felt like the game was rushed in some kind of way. Like
yeah, they
that
didn't have time to
alien
flesh that out, right?
yeah, like that alien shit was just really weird. Like it
Yeah,
came out of fucking nowhere.
right.
I mean, one can counter that and say like, well, the red one was there from the beginning, and it's like, I guess,
Yeah, but okay, Montrell, hold on. Counter argument to that argument is the red woman was there, but you could easily just put that the character never says a word and is just standing still. You're literally just putting a character model into a fucking cutscene. Like you could do that in less than a
you're
week,
right,
probably
you're right,
throughout the entirety of the game. So
you're
yes, like sure, she was there for the whole game, but it's not like it was hard to put her there or take her out. Like like it's fucking like it's meaningless. Like they could have just rushed that in at the last minute, just to like make the story make sense. So it's all I don't know. Yeah, it
I
sucks
hated
because
that.
the beginning of the game, like I think the first half, like the first three regions are really good. Like I really think it's really good. Like like it's
No,
like it's like an 8 or an 8.5 to me up to
it
that
it
point. But
it does a real good job putting that veil over you. Like,
yeah, right.
then you hit region 4 and you fight that lady like 3 times, and you're like,
Oh
okay,
my god,
bro.
and her fucking dragon, and then what's his name comes and like steals the kill from you anyways, like a piece of shit, and then he like takes Shion, and it's just it's a bunch of bullshit, man. And then you get to his region, and everybody's brainwashed and has no personality and can't think for themselves anymore. It's just like it's so bad, dude. Like the end of the
Oh my
game, like
god! And then he comes
yeah,
back
three
like.
times. Yeah, 3 fucking times the dude gets killed and revived or whatever. Yeah.
And he kept
Uh,
saying like this is part of his plan. Like he
yeah.
kept saying that shit. This is
So
part of my plan.
I don't
But
want to harp on
anyway,
the negative here. The
yeah,
good
yeah.
parts of the game,
Good parts of the
beginning
game.
beginning of the game, definitely right.
Yeah, beginning of the game. I love the voice acting. Um, I know me and you are kind of indifferent on the combat. I love the
Yeah,
combat.
yeah.
They could have did a little bit better with the CP points. They could have did something better with that. But I actually love the combat.
I just think enemy HP was too high. I think the combat feels fine. It's just that like the balance, the
Yeah,
statistics was off. Like that was the
and
problem.
I want to say that's because we're playing on hard mode. Because you play on normal mode,
No,
they
I've
die
heard the
almost
same complaint on normal, dude. Like it's
Okay.
probably not as pronounced, but it's still there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
mean the combat is really, if you guys just love Tails combat, it's pure Tails combat. The banter to me was there. I love the team.
mhm,
It's not as strong as like Vesperia or
mhm,
Symphonia, but it
mhm.
is there.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
well, I'll say
By the end of the game, you want to blow all their brains out, but
yes.
you know, up until they leave Dana, I think they're pretty strong. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought the characters were really good. It's just, man,
yeah.
they destroyed all that stuff. They built it up and then they
Well,
destroyed their own game. It's
this is my
crazy.
recommendation to people: play the game through the 5 regions and then stop. Just like the end of Region 5, that's just the end of the game.
Yeah, I think they
Because
give you like some
think
kind of
about it.
middle
Think about the way
point,
the
right?
story's structured. Yeah, think about the story structure. Remember at the end of Region 5, there's like a month break. Like they do a time skip for like a
Oh
month
yeah, you're
or
right.
something like
Yeah,
that. So it's like kind of a natural break point in the game's story. Just end it there. Just end it there. And then it's fine, you know?
yeah, because the rest of the game makes no fucking sense. It
Yeah.
makes no fucking sense. So yeah, man. But yeah, that's my Tales of Arise. I did like it. It came out this year, so
Mhm.
but solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I think I'd give it I don't know. If I'm in a
Didn't you say
bad
a
mood,
4?
yeah, if I'm in a bad mood, it's a 4. If I'm in a, like an even keeled mood, it's a 5. It's if I'm in a
Okay.
good mood, it's a 6. Like that's kind of how the game hit me. So, but all right, I'll my next game. I'm kind of debating on like taking this one off. Cuz I'm kind of like Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about Bravely Default 2. Sorry, Bravely Default 2, but you were okay. Like you were just like middling. It just is what it is. Um, you're that game's like a 6 to me. Like it's pretty good, but nothing to write home about. So the game I am gonna talk about instead is Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which I beat half of it in like 3 weeks, and then oh god, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, I'm sorry. I beat half of it in about 2 or 3 weeks when it came out, and then I took a 6 month hiatus, and then I beat the other half in like 2 or 3 weeks. So, um, this is great though. I'm glad EA finally did this. EA and Bioware. This was a very good remaster. I'm putting that in quotes. I think they did a really nice job of making Mass Effect 1 a lot more palatable of a game to play. I think for people, the combat is is a lot closer to Mass Effect 2 in the Legendary Edition, and honestly, it's close enough that I actually think it kind of makes 2 look worse by osmosis because two's not really that good. Um, that was my takeaway from playing the games. Whereas 1 and 3, I like legitimately love 3 now. Like haven't played it again recently. I
Uh-huh.
think 3 is fucking great for the most part. The ending is not good still. I still believe that. But it's not enough to bring the whole game down because the rest of the game is super fucking good. There's one critique that you brought up that I do agree with is that the amount of choice you have in this game is significantly lower. Like the branching dialogue is really not there for the most part. The dialogue's pretty straightforward in this game compared to the other 2 games.
Yeah.
That for me though didn't. I think that's the thing for me. It didn't hurt as much for me because having after playing 3 games, like being this playing 3 of these in a row, even over having a significant break. By the third game, I'm kind of like, I'm ready for this to wrap up. Even though I really like the game and I'm having a lot of fun with it, I don't need fucking super complicated dialogue trees. So that's something that you put in 1, and then 2, which is what they did, and yeah, but. I think I still like 1 the best. I still think 1's the best game. But it's like really close on 3, and then 2 is underneath both of them for me. I mean, 2's still a good game, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely the most unimportant to the trilogy, I'd say. So
Yeah, it's a filler quest.
yeah.
It's a filler arc. If it was an anime, that's what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I really want them to just remake 1. Like I really want them to keep everything the same
Mm-hmm.
as far as dialogue, choices, even the voice acting. I just want them to remake the combat. So I
Mm-hmm.
really want a lot of people, not for us, but I really want a lot of other people to play it because that game is still a hard bar to entry for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
people, I've been scouring the forum since the game came out a couple months ago, and yeah, a lot of people are still like, "Holy shit! The combat so improves on 2, and then 3 is like, oh my fucking god!" But they can't get a lot of people stop playing past 1, because that was actually there was a fucking survey or something done. Like they did like a wrap up for Mass Effect,
Mm-hmm.
and if
Oh
you
yeah.
had your data turned on or something like that, you can accept it or whatever. EA was like kind of reading the gameplay and stuff like that. And what they found out was that a lot of people were picking Caden and Ashley, and a lot of people wrapped figured out that because a lot of people weren't getting all the way through Mass Effect 1. That's why
Mm-hmm.
they were that's why Caden and Ashley were like the top fucking the top squad mates of Mass Effect 1 because people
Yeah.
weren't getting to Garrus and they weren't making it to Liara or they weren't making it to Rex or anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were just playing like the first couple of missions and they're like, okay, I can't do this shit, like, or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's a damn shame because I think Mass Effect 1, I think I know where people are getting roadblocked. It's probably when you go to the Citadel for the first time.
mm,
There's just so much there. Like it's a lot like running around the Citadel and like talking to everybody. And that's kind of my point about like the deep dialogue trees is that it gets a little exhausting after a while. I'm sure for a lot of players it just wasn't that enjoyable to run around the Citadel and talk to some of these characters. Like because there's just a lot of dialogue, and some of it is just not like in the first game. Some of it's not really that good. I know for us, like the opening going to the embassy right next door to Udina's office is like fucking iconic. You know, talking to that, listening to that Volus and the Elcor kind of go back and forth with each other. You know,
Yeah.
that's like an iconic moment in Mass Effect for me. Like I will never forget that. And I'm sure that moment has a lot of impact. But then when you leave that area, there's a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of humans and it's all sorts of weird shit going on. You know, I think your first time playing through it, it's probably enjoyable, but subsequent playthroughs are a little hard. I think because you know it all already, right? Or for
Yeah.
the most part. So
Well, even if you are like a new player and someone recommended it to you, so you're not
Mhm.
necessarily like a sci-fi person like that, but you're like, okay, someone recommended me this game, and I'm they told me it was kind of like The Witcher, but it's not like The Witcher. So I feel like if you're coming into it from that point of view, because I did read a lot of that people were like suggested it because
Mm,
they play The Witcher and stuff like
yeah,
that, or Witcher 3,
yeah.
and everything.
I
So
think that's a bad comparison, though.
it is.
You don't have the
I
freedom. You don't have the freedom you have in Witcher by far, and the decision making is totally different. Like like Witcher is like there's a decision in front of you, and the game doesn't really give you an indicator of which one, like what's going to happen. Really, a lot of the time, it's kind of vague sometimes when you're making decisions in that game, like what the fucking outcome's going to be. You know, so it's kind of a game that's like it kind of conditions you to be like I kind of just need to deal with the consequences of my actions. Whereas Mass Effect kind of telegraphs the decisions a lot more, you know.
yeah.
And with the Paragon and Renegade system, it absolutely, you know, telegraphs the decisions a lot more in that game. So
Yeah, and I just feel like yeah, Mass Effect 1, and then and then God forbid you do get past like the Citadel part. Then you have to go planet scanning, and well, it's not really that much planet scanning in Mass Effect 1, but when you do land on the planet, you got to fucking take the Mako, and that's a big bar to entry for a lot of people. Even though they've redid the Mako in the Legendary Edition, it's still the same Mako shit. So
yeah, right. It's better, but I still got stuck a few times, and
yep.
it's annoying. It's just that aspect of Mass Effect 1 is yeah, that might be the part that really turns people off is when you start doing side missions in the game and they all suck dick for the most part. And they're all shitty. They're like it's like you'll go to a ship, right? Like a ship mission, and there'll be like 5 of those ship missions, and it's the same fucking ship in every ship mission except the middle room where you fight the combat is different in each ship. Like that's the only difference. And then you get to
Yeah.
the front of it and the fucking layout is like the cockpit straight ahead and then there's 2 side rooms and that's like the whole ship, you know? And it's like it's you do that like 5 times and you're like, "Oh man." Like the 5th time you're like, "Oh my god, dude. Like fucking
No,
hell." You know?
you're fucking right. And then on top of that, like when you finish the mission, you don't really the consequences of your actions because obviously those actions do carry on in 2 and 3 and stuff like that. Like, oh, you saved me on this mission, or because you saved this station's here now, or whatever the fuck. But
Yeah.
it's not as pronounced as it is in Mass Effect 2 and 3, where you get like an actual like cutscene and this
Yeah.
is happening. It's
The
like a
game wasn't
dialogue.
produced, right.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
yeah, it wasn't,
dialogue.
like,
It was
produced like that, yeah.
it was very old school RPG ish that time.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
so I
throwback. Yeah,
appreciate it.
it's
Yeah,
like
I appreciate
KOTOR,
it.
right? Like,
Yeah,
it's like KOTOR. So, so the game I can understand why people I agree with you. I if they ever man, I kinda wish they would remake 1. I feel like that's the game, man, because 1 I think if they remade 1 would be hands down the best Mass Effect game. Like, it wouldn't
that's
even be close, you know?
that's almost what I wanted them to do when they were like, "Oh, we're making a new Mass Effect game." I was like, I hope they're just doing a complete remake of 1. Like
Yeah.
one part of me was like, just do a remake of 1 and like
Yeah.
kind of reboot the trilogy if that makes any sense. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
But I think guess people would have been mad about that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah,
would people have been mad? Maybe they would have after getting the legendary edition. But for me, man, like I think like one dude, the chase, like chasing Saren is so fucking. It's such a great storyline, you know.
yeah,
And all the reveals throughout it as well, like where you're learning about everything in the Mass Effect universe. It's just such a dude, it's such an awesome fucking experience. I'm sorry, nothing in 2 and 3 like really matches that, in my opinion. When you get to like fucking Ilos and you talk to the Prothean VI or whatever, that shit is so awesome, you know? Like it's so awesome. There's so many reveals that happen in that moment, you know? And then Vermeer, where you like, you know, you run into your like the first Reaper, you know, in the series, and like that shit is just like it's iconic, you know, it is straight up. So hopefully someday we get that, like a remake of Mass Effect One. I really
yeah.
think that
Hopefully,
game deserves it, but
I think if Mass Effect, whatever this Mass Effect's going to be called, the newer one is going to be called, if it sells really well, I think a lot of people will demand a remake of Mass Effect One. Because
yeah.
Legendary Edition will still be stuck on the PS4 and Xbox One, even though you
Hmm.
guys we can still play it because both consoles are backwards compatible.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people still would want a proper remake. And I would too. I would just want them to lead the story, almost like how they're doing with Dead Space, right? I just want them to lead the story the exact same way. Um,
Yeah.
the chase and the thrills and everything, the reveals and everything the exact same way. Just remake a lot of the different scenarios as far as like side missions and the flow of the game and everything of that nature. So
Hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, that's all I got for Mass Effect. Or no, that was actually your game, right?
Yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah. I mean, we both played it. We wanted to talk
Yeah.
about it. So, yeah, you go ahead. What's your next game?
I'm gonna talk about Scarlet Nexus. So this game really surprised me because um, I've been very adamant on Twitter and on the podcast about how much I fucking hate anime games because they fucking
Hmm.
suck. But this one really fucking blew my mind because it was an actual game and they actually tried and they actually made a combat system and it was an actual anime plot that's fucking complicated as fuck for no
Hmm.
fucking reason, and I loved it because it was so anime. Um, but the gameplay was fun. The world they built was fun. You can tell they actually was trying to build out a world, flesh out a world, and everything of that nature. Um, the powers you can use, the bonds you can do with your teammates, and how it adds to your combat level and or adds to the depth of combat you can do and stuff like that. Um, I thought it was a really well made game. The only thing I didn't like is I played with Yuito, and if you
Hmm.
play with Yuito, which a lot of people probably did, there was no fucking reason to play with Kisame at all, which is the
Hmm.
other character you can play.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to get the trophies, you gotta play with both of them. Um, I'm gonna try platinum it. It's just Kisame's story. Since I already played Yuito's story, I don't really need her story. Like I don't need to see her other side of the story at all. It should have been like one or the other type deal.
Hmm.
Um, and I also really don't like her combat personally. She's more of like a knife mage type combat.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really, really different from Yito, who's like he's a sword fighter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. She
they
has
do
like
have
those like floating weapons or whatever, right?
pretty much, yeah. So
Yeah.
she acts like as a mage would would I would suffice like a really really like a red mage or something like that who's
Hmm.
like really combat focused
Yeah.
or whatever. Um So I would just have to. I did take a break from the game so I can like get Yuito's combat style out my head, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna start Kisame's. So it's like a fresh game if that makes any sense. Because I was still stuck in Yuito, and they play completely different
Hmm.
styles, which I actually commend them on as well. It's just the story, like I said, I don't really need to know the story because they give you. I'm pretty sure if you play Kisame's first or Kisane's rather, that's how you say her name. Kisane's first,
Hmm.
uh, you will get all of Yuito's story. You know Yuito's story. So I knew all of Kisame's story just from playing Yuito. So um, that's my only biggest gripe with it. Another
Yeah.
big gripe I have with it is not the actual game itself, but the gamers. This game didn't sell very well, and I'm
Mm,
afraid that we're not going to get a Scarlet Nexus 2. I think it's sold. I think Code Vein still sold better than this game,
mm.
which is terrible because I fucking hate that game. I bought that game and
And he
immediately took it
played through the
back.
whole game, everybody.
Yeah, I
He's
bought
speaking
that
from
game
experience.
and I immediately took it back. I played
Yeah.
it for a week. I never finished the game so fucking fast in my life. I was like, I'm not playing this game anymore. I can't do it.
You
And I
have better
finished it.
willpower than me, man. When I don't like a game, I can't force myself to play it, you know?
Well, I was trashing so much, I just had to play it. Like I had to do it, and
Yeah.
I played it, and I did not like it. It was the complete opposite of this game. This game looked interesting from the start, uh, and they advertised the fuck out of it. I don't think anime gamers when they're attracted to this game. I think this is this is gonna sound so mean. I think this game was too much of a video game for anime gamers. If that makes
Mm.
any sense.
Mhm.
They're used to like the One Piece style, the Naruto style games and stuff like that, where it's kind of like it kind of holds your hand.
Yeah.
Even Code Vein to an extent kind of like held your hand, but it was kind of hard a little bit. It was a little difficult at times. Um, but this game like really didn't hold your hand as far as like combat because combat did ramp up. And if you weren't like, for me, it was easy because I'm used to character action games. But for someone who's not used to a character action game, I can
Mhm.
see it being difficult in certain spots of the game. And you're like, I can't play this, and I'm not recommending this to my friends or my friends who barely play video games but love anime. So,
Mhm.
yeah, but I hope we get another one with the same. I hope they just improve upon the combat. But this was definitely a sleeper hit for me. Honestly, this probably should have got RPG of the year, even though I don't really consider it an RPG. I think it's way better than Tales. The story is way more consistent. It just doesn't have deep RPG mechanics. But I do love the team that you're with, the bond mechanics that you have to go through, and you learn about your team through different bonding missions and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. That's it for me for Nexus.
Okay. So yeah, my next game, next one I want to talk about is Hades. So this game came out last year, but it came to PS4 and Xbox Series X this year in August, I think it was. And dude, from the moment I started playing this game is so fucking good. Oh my god. I like part of me wants to go back to it cuz I never finished it. Like I didn't platinum it. The game is really long. You have to like beat the game many times in order to fully complete the story because I think I had escaped like 15 times or something like that, 10 to 15 times, which is a decent amount, but I still hadn't like fully completed the story yet. I had finished like the main story, but there was like an epilogue portion that was still not done with. So, dude, it's such a fucking fun game. I can't recommend it enough. It just has so much replayability in it with the like 6 different weapons that you can use, and each weapon has an upgrade tree where you can actually completely change the way the fucking weapon works. So you just have like so many combinations of different builds you can do with this game, and then obviously the randomized element of the boons that you get from the gods. Changes up your gameplay as well when you're playing. So that's another element that is randomized with the weapons. There's just so many different combinations of ways to play this game that it's like it's just so fucking fun, and it always keeps you on your toes as well because you're having to adapt your gameplay to what your build is, what weapon you're using, and then the abilities you get as well. So you every playthrough is different. Like every run you do in Hades is different, and it's just like such a purely fun game to play. The gameplay is really solid in this game, and I love it. I really like the lore in the game too. Actually, I don't think the story's like incredible or anything like that, but it's good for what it is. And I really like the way some of the characters are portrayed. Like I like Hades. I like a lot of the other gods, but some of the side characters that are in Hades with you are cool as well, and they get their little moments as well throughout the game the longer you play. So I think the game is really it's just super well made. And honestly, it's an indie game. It's cheap. Like it's not an expensive game. I think it's like $25 at most, and you can probably get it on sale for like 10 or 15 at this point. That is a fucking steal. This game has hours and hours and hours and hours of replayability in it. So definitely highly recommend this game. So
Yeah,
Montreal,
I need to jump on this game. I
yeah,
need
man.
to just
Yeah, just dude, I'm telling you, just fucking get it. You will be addicted. Like, um, we missed the zeitgeist of this last year when it came out. Like, both of us didn't play it. But I remember when it came out on Switch and people were like fucking raving about it. So yeah, you just got to get it, man. Just get it, play it over the next couple weeks, like during during the holidays. You will not regret it. So, what is your next game that you want to talk about?
all right, so I talked about that. I didn't talk about this yet. But I'm gonna go to Resident Evil 8.
Mm-hmm.
Uh really, 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 really enjoyed this game. I played this game. I played Resident Evil 7, and if you guys know me, I was very iffy on Resident Evil 7. Because
Mm-hmm.
it went first person and I didn't like Ethan, and then I thought his wife Maya was ugly as fuck, and it was just like uh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was, but the game itself though was still fun. Like I actually I actually like the game of Resident Evil 7. So then here comes Resident Evil 8, and it's more so like a pseudo linear open world, open linear, that's what they
Mm-hmm.
call it for God of War.
Mm-hmm.
It has that kind of feel to it. I love the characters, uh, especially what's her name, Lady Demetria or whatever the fuck his name was,
Dimitrescu or whatever. Yeah.
Dimitrescu. But I don't even think she was the best person. The best person was her brother. I think I really enjoyed his character because he kind of pushes you to your limit as far as the character goes, and the shit that he can
Mm-hmm.
do and
Yeah.
everything. The game was it was scary at points, or not scary, but it was creepy at points. It did have some jump scares, but it was also still like that wacky Resident Evil corniness as well as certain other parts. They just did a really good job of mixing and melding like old school Resident Evil and new school Resident Evil. And it took me by surprise. I actually liked the character, the main character Ethan. By the end of the game, I actually,
Mm-hmm.
his character development in the game was really fucking good, and I loved him by the end of the game. Um, as far as the Resident Evil character goes. He definitely earned his stripes. So yeah, the game was really good. It deserved every bit of praise that it got.
Yeah.
So
Well, I didn't play Resident Evil 8, but I do want to say I did enjoy this game's time in the sun. The memes that came out with Lady Dimitrescu and a lot of the stuff around her was fucking super fucking funny, man. Like there was just so much. There's like the scene where she like takes a phone call and she's like super angry, and like people were like inserting like scenes and other characters into the shit. It's just really funny. Or they would like she would like pick the phone up and they inserted a different audio track into it.
yeah,
So somebody random would be talking to her and she would like slam the phone down. It just was funny stuff, man. Oh my god. It's just really that was really fun stuff. So definitely enjoyed that game. All right. So the next game I want to talk about, I'm gonna skip over the multiplayer ones for a moment. I think we can probably end with those.
okay,
Is Guardians of the Galaxy. So like I said, I just finished this. As of time of recording, I actually finished this like 2 days ago. So I talked about this on last week's episode, like pretty in depth. But just to kind of reiterate some of the stuff I said on that. This game is really, really good. This is a really fun, kind of linear action adventure game. But it's just like the story is really good. The characters are great. I love the character interacting actions. The Guardians are like just such a fun group of characters. Really, no matter what form they take, they're always fun. But I think they really nailed it in this game. And the way the party, like the group, kind of changes and morphs over the course of the game is super well done. Everything they do is earned, and it's like the payoffs are really, really awesome. There's just so many great moments in the game. So I really recommend this game. It's actually decent length. It's probably about 20 hours, I think, is what I put it at. I took longer because I'm slow.
Mhm.
I'm like I like go through environments like a crazy person. I gotta like see every little fucking thing. But if you rush through it, it'd probably be quicker, like 15 hours. But um, in terms of like negatives for the game, the negatives that really stuck with me were the combat is like just serviceable. It's nothing like really great. Definitely nothing you will remember, to be honest. And then the voice lines, the way voice lines play in the environments, you will kind of like if you like trigger a cutscene or something, you will lose voice lines in the middle of a conversation and they will never play again. A lot of the time, and it's kind of a frustrating thing because the game does a really bad job of telegraphing when you're about to walk over that invisible line that triggers that stuff, like set dialogue. So that's a frustrating aspect to the game as well. But the environments are great. You get a very wide range of places that the characters go. They go to a lot of different planets, and there's a lot of different kind of environments that you get to go to. But you also do a lot of stuff in space too. The game has some cool moments as well where you actually get into like a dogfighting battle where you're like controlling the ship and you're like fucking it's like Star Fox basically. There's
Mm.
some cool, and it's actually well done. Like it controls well. It actually kind of would have been cool if there was a little bit more of it. To be honest, I thought it was really fun. And I was surprised at how like smooth it felt. Actually, so they did a really good job. Eidos like really kind of knocked this one out of the park. I think this game is like for a first attempt at this IP and a game like this because I mean they've not made a game like this recently. I don't even know if they've ever made a game like this really. They really did a great job with it. So whatever they make next, I will be highly anticipating it. So
Hopefully, it's your precious Deus Ex, man.
yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping this game was popular enough and made enough money for Square that they're like, okay, let's beef up Eidos. Let's get two games going. You guys are doing such a good job. Let's do a Guardians 2 and Deus Ex, at the same time. That's kind of what I'm hoping, but I doubt I'm gonna get that. So but Marshall, do you want to play this game? Are you interested in this?
No, I am. I just every time I want to buy it, it's another game pops up on my list because I want to.
Okay.
There are a couple of games I want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Judgment is one. Judgment and then Lost Judgment is one, or Last
Mm,
Judgment. I
I think
like
it's
those
Lost
kind of.
Judgment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lost Judgment. I really want to play those games. And I want to play fucking Yakuza Rise of the Dragon. Uh,
Yeah.
and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get this. So it's probably going to be one of my bargain bin end of the year games I usually get. So
Mm-hmm.
it's already like $30 now. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
which
Well,
I think is
don't let this one pass you by. Like don't
I'm
forget
not.
about this one.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing through.
Yeah, it wasn't on my radar. In my you have a plan of games you want to play before the end of the year or get those
Oh,
games
yeah.
before the end of the year out, and then
Absolutely.
this game was not on my radar, and then everyone was like, "Yo, you got to get it." So now I got to add it to my agenda.
Yeah. Your planner.
Yeah,
Your video gamer planner.
but I guess my next game I really want to talk about that I had on my radar for a while, since it was actually fucking announced was Metroid Dread. Uh, Never in my life, not never in my life. I just over exaggerated. This game took me back to like old school games. Like I don't know, like when
Hmm.
they were like super fucking short, but like
Mm-hmm. A great experience out of it.
you got a
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And this just took me back to that because this game, you can tell the people who made this game, man, they fucking know Metroid. They get it, and man, um, it was just a good fucking 2D side scroller. Like if this game had got Game of the Year, I would have understood. I know a lot of people would have been mad about it because they're like, "Oh,
Mm.
it's a fucking 2D side scroller. What the fuck?" Like,
It's
no, this game,
10 hours. It's not worth $60, man. It's not
yeah,
Game of the Year worthy. Like,
this is one of those games where like a 8 to 10 hour game is definitely worth the 60 hours. Not only does it have replayability, but those 8 to 10 hours are gonna be filled with
mm,
so much fucking fun. Especially if you like these type of games. And even if you don't like these type of games, I feel like you still even if you don't know what Metroid is or you never played Metroid, they do a really good job of like alienating this story out. There are some elements of the game that you can know why she
Mm-hmm.
has this particular suit and things of that nature, but you don't need to know that.
Yeah.
Um, and then the story, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but the story at the end kind of solidifies who Summers is, and why she is what she is, and why she's so fucking cool. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of upset about that. Not upset. It kind of removes the mysteriousness away from her. Uh,
Oh, okay.
but it is really cool in another sense too. It's like, oh, this is why she's so badass. But it's like it does remove that mysteriousness away from her. Like I can't say anymore without giving away. But yeah, but uh, there is one line. I mean, I know everyone already probably spoiled it, and this podcast is not going to be any different. She speaks another language, and when she speaks another language, she never fucking talks, except for in other M. We don't talk about other M, but she never fucking talks. So when she says that one line, I freaked the fuck out. I was like, oh shit, she just fucking talked in a different language. I don't even fucking care. That shit was fucking badass. Like it was, to me, for Metroid fans, it was equivalent to like Master Chief saying, I need a fucking weapon or something like that. Like I need a
I need
weapon.
a weapon.
So uh I thought that was pretty cool. They definitely did Metroid justice, and I think this game pushed Metroid like back into the mainstream. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, and I can't wait to see what else they do. There's nothing else I can really say about it, but I if you like games like this, like Metroidvania games, even like Mega Man type games or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, I I recommend it. If you like especially if you like Mega Man X Zero or Mega Man Zero. Those games have like a Metroidvania style
Yeah.
gameplay to it compared to
Yeah.
like the other Mega Man games. And if you like those type of games, I definitely recommend Metroid Dread. You probably want to
Mm-hmm.
wait till a price drop, but I definitely recommend it still.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Um, all right, so we have two of the same multiplayer game, and then you added League. Do you want to talk about League first?
Uh, I thought I had one more single player game. No, let's talk about Final Fantasy 14 first. Or wait, we got two games we talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay,
I'm
okay,
saying you talk League, and then we'll end with the
okay.
two we have the same similar.
All right. I put League of Legends on here this year because I think they did a really decent job at balancing some this year,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird to say. I know
Yeah.
I
I mean,
probably
I can
bitched about it.
attest. I feel like you haven't yelled about balance as much this year.
Yeah, it purely was like a skill based thing. And it's probably because both my both my champions I use are S tier champions right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. Riot's doing such a great job of balancing. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I went from mid lane and I went from jungle to mid lane because last season before last I got to jungle's go to, and I decided to go mid lane and I got to go 3 with mid lane. So now this season, which is we're still in preseason. They usually don't start the new season up until like the first week of January. Um, my whole goal is to get to like platinum or diamond, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
stream my journey with people. So I'm gonna be exclusively playing jungle though, because that's the best role for me. But anyway, this season, I really like this season. Uh, they took a lot of criticism very well this season.
Yeah.
Even with COVID and stuff like that. There was one balance issue I had, and that was with Lux. Lux was completely busted this at the end of the season. They
Mm.
buffed her for no fucking reason. She had like literally 2 seconds on her Q. She could snare you and then snare you right again. It's fucking ridiculous.
Mhm.
But they actually nerfed her now, so go figure. But uh, they kind of ended like their whole they're also really transparent on their skins and how they do their skins now. So like we all know that Lux is gonna get a fucking skin. We all know that Annie's probably gonna get a fucking skin. We all know that who
Mhm.
else? Misfortune or somebody like that's gonna get a fucking skin. But these are like or Yasuo. We all know that fucker's gonna get a fucking skin. But they use those skin sales to fund lower ranking champions that are not as popular, and those to get skins. So I feel like we saw a lot of champions that normally wouldn't get skins in like the last 5 or 6 years. They
Yeah.
got skins this year and everything like that. They got like maybe 2 or 3 skins this year.
Okay.
I thought that was really cool, and it looks like they're going to continue to improve. I'm nervous though because this NFT stuff is on the rise. I don't think League is going to do it or Riot's going to do it, but I'm just really fucking scared, bro. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I'm really scared.
So I did talk about the NFT stuff actually in last
Okay.
week's episode, and yeah, the audience knows this, but I just want to tell you, I did eat some crow on the Ubisoft stuff.
Okay.
I was wrong about them. I don't know why I trusted them to do this properly. However, I still believe that NFTs actually do have a place in video games. I think they can, if they're done right, they can be a huge positive for players. But I don't know what company I fucking trust to do it right. And I don't think it's Riot either. So,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I'm being honest, but so the funny thing about League is I'm like man, I'm really chomping at the bit, Montrell. I really kind of want to get back into a MOBA this year, like this next year. Like I was like, dude, I like logged into Dota and I'm like, oh my god, I really want to play this game. Like, I'm like, oh god, oh no, you know. But like Dota, I struggle with it so much because you guys don't play it, and I've tried to like get you guys to play it before, but it's just like it's just such a learning curve, so I kind of, I don't know, I like, part of me, I still have League installed, so I like kind of want to like just jump back into it. It's just like the learning curve for me in League is just extreme, for the most part, just as extreme the other way. The game is completely different from back when I played it. So it's like I got to learn all the characters and all their counters and all this shit, like who's good, who's not good,
Well, I
all
think
that stuff. So
this is the. I mean, it's preseason right now, so this is honestly the best time to get into it because no one's taking anything seriously. Everyone's still experimenting and everything like that. So if you
yep.
were to get in, I mean, if you wanted to jump in, you say, "Hey, Montreal, like I want to jump in and do a couple league games with
Hmm.
some pubs." We can do it because, like I said, this is a preseason. Perfect time to get in. No one's taking anything seriously. Everyone's experimenting
Yeah.
and their new item system, the way they have their item system right now, it gives you recommendations on who you're facing in lane and what path you should take. I mean, you still
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
can make your own build path, but it gives you that. And also on
Mhm.
top of that,
Well, that's nice for learning. Like Dota, the problem with Dota, like Dota has that same thing in it where it will like it'll tell you what items to use and what situations and stuff like that.
yeah.
But it's like a pay for subscription. Like it's called Dota Plus. You have to like pay for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and they did that a few years ago, and they've left it there. I don't. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't mind paying for it. I would, but it's like I don't know. Dude, it's just like the thing for me is like I feel like if I am gonna play MOBAs, I definitely want to play Dota 2.
Mhm.
Because there's just like I was scrolling through all the characters, and dude, I was like going through some of my favorites, man. The ones that I'm like, they're like my characters, the ones that I'm like fucking really good with. And I was just like, man, I miss Timbersaw. I miss fucking shredded motherfuckers with him, dude. Like, oh my god, like chopping down 85 trees, just coming out of the fucking jungle, and no one knows where I'm coming from and shit, and I'm just flying through the fucking air and shit, and spinning around. Like, oh, I love that character, man. And I don't think League like has a character like that.
No, he don't.
Um, yeah,
Unfortunately.
and he is so fucking fun. And then like Crystal Maiden, like she's the support that I'm like fucking super good with.
Mm.
Um and I love her. It's just, and like Spectre, I love Spectre as well. Anti Mage, always fun. Phantom Assassin, like super good, man. So it's like I don't know. I don't know if I can play both realistically. I don't think that's possible. That's probably a really bad idea. But part of me just I just want to get back into a MOBA. Like it's been about 4 or 5 years since I really played Dota 2, and I kind of miss it. Um, so I don't know. I might spin one of them up soon. But all right, Montreal. Let's talk about our last two games. Let's start with Apex. I kind of want to finish with Final Fantasy. I think. Um, yeah, Apex. We've been kind of filling that in. It's kind of been on and off throughout the year. There have been periods where we didn't play, and then periods where we're like playing a lot. We're kind of in a I feel like we're in a playing a lot period right now. Right this second. Which is funny because like I specifically took like a 4 week hiatus from Apex at the beginning of the season. But I'm actually getting back into it again. And
Yeah, I kind of want to
yeah,
play as soon as we get off.
yeah, I might be down. Yeah, I mean, it's like the game is just fun to play. It's just a really well made shooter. Like it just feels good to play. Movement feels good.
Yeah,
The gunplay feels good. That's why this game. I think this is why. That's why we keep coming back to this game. It's just at its core level, it's a really fucking solid shooter.
yeah,
The problems with it that we complain about are always there, and they're probably not going away. But I think that like core gameplay is really what brings us back to this game all the time, and it's the fact that all of us play it too. It's just a really easy way for us to hang out during the week, and spend like 2 or 3 hours together. Without having to like commit to something. It's just
yeah,
like just
yeah,
jump in and play a few games and you get off. It's like, so I don't know. I love Apex, man.
yeah. I do too. I was thinking about this game, and I know we bitch about it a lot, but yeah, like you said, it's almost like League of Legends. Like I don't
Yeah,
know, like the core gameplay is so good that it doesn't necessarily excuse the problems that it has. Um, but you can still bitch about it and then still play. Like
right.
we get pissed. Like if you guys hear us, we get fucking pissed.
Oh yeah.
Like at a lot of the shit, and then we're like, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Like
Yeah, if we ever
it's
stream this game, you guys will fucking laugh at us, man. Like I lose my mind sometimes. Like when you get killed. And the game has problems, and the game has hacker problems for sure. I think we've definitely gotten a little too blasé about blaming all of our deaths on hackers.
yeah, yeah.
We run into a lot of them, but I don't think it's probably quite as many as we think. Because I remember we there was some when we played PUBG, we used to do the same thing. We would blame a lot of our losses on hackers. And like there was this website that like tracked games and would like show you their game, like the other players' games and stuff like that. And it started to become pretty clear that we were not playing against hackers. Like you could see their like overall stats, and they were like really bad players. It was just like they like had a good moment in that game that they were playing against us. They like died like immediately after they killed us or some shit.
So I
Um,
did go back, and I don't know how I did this research, but we did play Apex. We played Apex because remember we were still looking for another game to play while we were playing PUBG, and we played Apex for about 2 weeks, and then we went back and we played because you remember Snakes was playing Apex a lot.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
So
Andy was too.
we yeah, Andy was too, and we played Apex with them for about 2 weeks, and then we went back to PUBG because Kerrigan came out. And remember when Kerrigan came out, we were dominating kids because we were
Oh
so
yeah.
used to playing Apex that when we came back to Kerrigan had that same flow that we were like, all right, now we're good now. We were
That was
dropping
peak.
hot.
That was peak PUBG, dude. My aim in PUBG was bad, like straight up. Like I don't think any of us were good at PUBG, and I'm including Jet and Snakes in this too. I don't think any of us were actually good at that game, but I never felt better than when we played Kerrigan that period of time you're talking about, because I remember so many games where, dude, I was headshotting fools with snipers with like Car 98s. There was this one game where I think I was playing with you, and we were playing with you, Snakes, and like Jet, and you and Snakes died, and me and Jet were like alone in fours. We were playing fours, and we
Yeah.
were we were down to a duo. And I remember like Snakes was watching me, and there was this guy. We were fighting a team, and this guy was coming around a
Oh yeah,
corner,
I
and I
remember that shit.
pre-fired a sniper shot and headshot him right around the corner, and it would look like a hacker shot. Like I was so proud of myself, dude. It's like my peak PUBG moment. Like it's the moment I was like, that was my best moment ever. And then me and Jet like finished and won the game. We ended up winning the game off that. And it
Yeah.
was like one of our proudest fucking games.
Yeah, no, like um that game, PUBG was really fun. We just need to drop hotter. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
But the problem, it was a lot of problems with that shit. But Apex Legends kind of has they kind of alleviate that issue with the player abilities and stuff like that, or with the character abilities and everything.
On the
And
movement, right?
in the movement,
Yeah.
you can't get
Because you
across
can
the map.
drop lukewarm and get into a fight pretty fast, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, with
Whereas
this new map, I don't feel that way. I feel like it's almost PUBG level, but that's maybe because we're so used to
yeah,
dropping hot,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I still think the creatures are annoying on that map. We were playing last night, and we were in the middle of a gunfight, and I got taken down to like 10 HP, and the fucking spiders knocked me while I was trying to heal, and I was so mad. I was so pissed, dude. I was like, no, no. And then Jet and Brad were like, what knocked you? What knocked you? And I'm like, the fucking spiders.
yeah, no, the that new map needs. I don't want to say it needs a rework, but it needs
Yeah.
something, man. I don't know what it needs, but
Yeah.
maybe take
Well,
the jump
they
towers out and put the jump towers in. Take the
yeah.
what was those cannons out? I don't like
Cannons or
those.
leave the
Yeah.
cannons, but put jump towers in too. Fuck it, like increase the mobility. Because, dude, the thing is, the rank split happened this week, and usually during the rank split, they bring one of the old maps back and they like tweak it usually in the mid
Hmm.
season, and they didn't do that. The map rotation is exactly the same. They didn't change it. The only thing
Oh.
they changed is they made World's Edge the ranked map instead of Storm Point. That's all they did
Okay.
for the split, and I'm like. I'm like disappointed. I'm like, man, like, come on, respawn. You had nothing. You had nothing ready for the rank split. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
I'm I'm pretty I'm satisfied with the game. I like what they did with the game. The game was definitely a sleeper hit.
hmm
This is the only battle royale besides PUBG that kind of like stuck out to me. I don't like Warfare. I thought Modern
Warzone. Yeah,
Warfare or Warzone was gonna be it for me, but I didn't like the way they did the loot situation in that game. It was weird. Because you
and
can
Fortnite can get fucked.
yes, Fortnite is dumb. I can't play Fortnite at all. It's
Yeah,
not for me at all.
yeah,
So
right.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll keep talking about Apex, guys. I mean, we play it. You know, it is what it is. So, all right, last game we have on our list, Montreal, is Final Fantasy 14. We both played this. We talked about it early in the episode, but like this game really captured me in the summer in a way I don't think I've been captured, especially by an MMO, for a long fucking time, man. Like, I played Final Fantasy 14 for about 6 weeks straight, and I was playing almost nothing else. I don't even know if we were playing Apex in that period of time. My memory of it is that I got home and I played Final Fantasy the entire night. I remember there were like a couple weekends where I poop socked the fuck out of the game and I completed the entirety of Heavensward in like a Saturday and a Sunday back to back, dude, where I did like two like 14 like 12 or 14-hour days doing Heavensward content, and I fucking lost myself to this game, man. It was such a fun ride though. I think Final Fantasy 14 is fucking excellent. Like it deserves all the praise it's getting. It's so fun. I actually my plan this week, I'm off next week. I'm actually planning to play through Endwalker and like really get back into this game. So that's something I'm looking forward to because I've definitely missed this game. And I was really just waiting for Endwalker to come out to get back into it because if when you're at the end of an expansion cycle, a lot of the shit you're doing feels kind of pointless, because you're about to get like the content's about to get replaced with something higher level. So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
No, I was actually very impressed by this game. Normally, I know you're gonna kick me for this, but normally in MMOs, I do not
yeah,
follow the story at all. I'm like
hmm
I'm that guy that just runs in, do the quest, so I can get the gear that I want to get and do what I
hmm
want to do.
yeah.
I rarely follow stories. In this game, I had to follow the story because that shit was good as fuck. Like I was like, oh man, this is how you do an MMO story. Now, granted, like I said, there were some issues with the game as far as like I don't know if they're ever going to make another MMO or whatever, but I
Yeah.
don't like how they gate off. We're playing with each other. You can't play with me because I'm not at the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
chapter as you, even though we're in the same expansion or whatever. I don't like that
Well,
shit.
even
But
if you are, if they have an instance duty quest, you can't do it together. Like you
yeah,
have to abandon party. Yeah, it's definitely weird in that regard.
yeah. But I understand a lot of people like it like that. And it looks like that's the way MMOs are probably going to be because honestly, if you can even get this game is hot. This game is like a PS5 now. If you can get a code to get inside the game, I recommend you get it. Because they took the game off their sites temporarily because
Yeah.
too many people were buying this game.
Yeah,
Like
the
that's
queues
crazy.
have been crazy, man. Like the queues to get into fucking games. Like I'm like afraid to turn the game on, you know? I'm like sitting here like I'm like, man, I should like wake up in the morning. First thing I do is just go like queue up for Final Fantasy 14, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
uh
what
yeah,
I
sorry,
really
go ahead.
appreciate about the game is not only the story because I really love the fucking Dark Knight story. That story was fucking
Mm,
like I recommend anybody if you play Dark Knight, even if you don't want to play the role itself, just play the storyline or watch the storyline. It's fucking phenomenal. That story, the first part of the
mhm,
storyline, is fucking
mhm.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
The shit that you have to do and who the real villain is at the end of the story and everything, how you actually become the Dark Knight. It's crazy. But yeah, like another thing I liked was the combat. Obviously, we all like the combat. I
Mhm.
just really appreciate how flashy this fucking combat is.
Dude, the music too to go along with
Yeah,
that. Yeah, the
yeah.
music. Oh my fucking god, this
And I
soundtrack is amazing.
and I know a lot of MMO like haters, and especially because this I consider this a Eastern MMO, but I know a lot of Western MMO and especially the old school Western MMOs, like the people from like EverQuest and Camelot Online and everything like that. Like I don't need that fancy stuff. All these my stats and my gear, and it's like
Yeah, they
I.
want your character to swing their weapon like it's a fucking like weighted dumbbell, you know, like
Yeah,
like 4 damage. It's like, nah, bro, I want my
yeah,
game
man.
done.
I really appreciate that my character looks fucking cool as shit
Yeah.
swinging their weapon. Like I don't know
Mhm.
how I describe it to y'all, but like even the moves you do and everything of that nature, like that adds a lot of aesthetic to the game. And it
Mhm.
adds a lot of weight to the game when you're fighting when you're doing this, especially when you're doing the fucking raids and you're seeing Final Fantasy fireworks. It's not regular fireworks, y'all. Y'all gotta know the difference between Final
Yeah.
Fantasy fireworks and effects. And you're
Mhm.
just seeing all that shit going off, and you're just like, yo, this is
Yeah.
fucking it. You got cat people running next to you. You got bunny girls running next to you. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got you got fat chocobos running next to you.
Don't go
You
to
know,
Libs Mensa, everybody. That's the role player. That's the role player city. Don't go there unless you want to hear some really naughty stuff. Nah,
then you
man, this
got
game is wild. Final Fantasy 14 is a special fucking game. Like it really is. I So Montrell, though, I want to call you out because you really fucked yourself up with this game. I remember playing it, and like I was like, man, I really want Montrell to catch up, and then you would like get on, and you would like because this is what happened. He like grinded through Realm Reborn content, all the patches. You did all that shit, right? You and Jet were like neck and neck with each other, I remember. And then you didn't play. You finished Realm Reborn and got to Heaven's Sword, and you couldn't fucking like you stopped playing for a while, and then you came back and you had unlocked Dark Knight, and that was the class you wanted to play, but you had to level it from 30 to 50, I remember.
Mhm.
And you
Yep.
were like dungeon grinding, and you were so miserable doing the dungeon grinding. That's what I remember. So then you finally made it, though. You got to 50, and then you grinded through all of Heaven's Sword, from what I remember. And you finished the patches for Heaven's Sword too. It took you a while, but you got there. And then I remember you hit this wall with Stormblood where it just wasn't as interesting. I think you
Yeah,
started it, right?
it wasn't as interesting that I paid for it to get to
Yeah.
skip
And
that
then
one.
he pays for the boost to skip it, but it doesn't level you to 70. So he has to grind. He had to grind from 62 to 70 doing whatever the fuck, dungeons or whatever the hell. And that's when you quit. You just quit. You were just like,
Yeah, I
you were
just
done at
quit.
that
Yeah,
point. So
yeah,
I think you're still there right now. You're still level 62, I think.
yeah. Yep.
And I think if you come back in, like, you probably need to just skip everything and get to Endwalker. And then like go watch like Shadowbringers
Okay.
on YouTube or something.
I
It's
really want to
probably
play that
only a few
storyline.
hours, you know.
Okay.
Um, so you can get the gist of the story or read like a plot synopsis or something, because you need to know what happens in that expansion. It directly ties into this next one like very heavily, I think. The
Mm-hmm.
end of it specifically, like the patches and stuff. It's going to be important going into this expansion, because this is supposed to be the end of the like Hydaelyn Zodiark saga that's been going on since the beginning of A Realm Reborn. So it's a big moment for this game, for sure.
So, do
So
you
yeah.
think they're going to continue like Final Fantasy 14, but it's going to be like Final Fantasy 14-2? Like, you think they're
No,
going to do
they
that?
already said that the game's not ending here. Like they know it's called Endwalker, and they know they're saying that it's the end of the Zodiark Hydaelyn storyline, but that this isn't the end for the game. So
Okay. All right.
there
Cool.
will be more afterwards. So that's their plan at least. I mean, if the game remains as popular as it is, I sincerely doubt they will stop making content for this game anytime soon. So
So we're not
um,
gonna. It's not gonna be the Warrior Light content anymore. It's gonna be a different hero. I'm assuming at this
No,
time.
I mean we'll probably still be the Warrior of Light running around doing shit, but it won't be about Hydaelyn and Zodiark anymore, like the crystals and all that shit. Like it'll be some new
Ah.
story.
Okay.
It'll be a new storyline, whatever that means. So maybe we'll go to some of the other, we'll go to some other places, that we haven't been able to go to yet. Because actually, it's funny. A lot of the world of Final Fantasy 14, like the world map, we haven't even been to most of it yet.
Really?
I'm assuming Endwalker resolves a lot of this, but um, yeah, dude, like we've been like Eorzea is like this tiny little space in like the bottom, like the southwest corner of the world map, and then Stormblood takes place in like the southeast corner of the world map, and then that's really it so far for the most part. Like we haven't gone into the wider world really at all, because the third expansion takes place in a completely different plane. Like it's not actually Eorzea's plane of existence, and so it's like totally we've like barely scratched the surface of the actual world map. So
That's
yeah, and
crazy.
I don't know what Endwalker adds. It adds a few places that I've heard before in the game's storyline, but I don't know how big of a landmass we're actually going to get to explore. So yeah, no, it's fucking nuts, dude. So
Yeah, man.
yeah,
Yeah. World of Warcraft, eat your heart out, yo.
yeah, man. No, they got plenty of content to work with. So it's yeah, it's I mean it's a great game. Like hands down. It's I'm surprised at how great it became, because I've played it a couple different times over the years. I played A Realm Reborn, and it wasn't that good. Like A Realm Reborn was really good compared to the original version, but
Yeah.
it just didn't hold my attention. I remember back in the day. And then I played it again with Jet when Heaven's Ward came out, but we made new characters and started over from level 1. So I was just playing through A Realm Reborn again, you know, and it still didn't hold my attention at that point. So when I pushed through it this time and started actually getting through some of the expansions, I was like, holy shit, this fucking game is good, man. you know?
Well, I
So
enjoyed playing it because it reminded me like when me, DJ, and Tori were playing it, and we played through all of Realm Reborn, and that's when I was playing it like really tough. To the point where I remember I was back in Detroit because this was like 2015, maybe.
mhm.
Yeah, it was like 2015 or some shit. We were playing through like a Realm Reborn in 2014, and my girlfriend called me and she just got out like she just went to a party and she was like, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm stranded, and me and my friend are stranded at like a local Coney Island restaurant, and
Oh
we need to get
shit.
picked up." And I'm like, "Fuck, I'm in the middle of a dungeon," and she's like, "Okay, finish the dungeon and then come pick me up." I was like, all right, because I was a tank, I was a main tank, so I could
Mm,
just like abandon everybody. So
mhm.
I was like, I put in chat like, hey, gotta pick up GF. Can we can we please finish dungeon in 10 minutes? And everybody was like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, all right, cool. And we rushed through the dungeon. It was actually incredible. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing I want to say about this game is I don't know about now because I haven't really been talking to people as much as I used to back in the day, like in 2015, because I had you guys when I was playing it this time.
Mm-hmm.
But the community, even though I was toxic, I'll fully admit that I was a toxic. I didn't type it in chat, but I
Yeah.
was a toxic ass. Like in the Discord, if y'all would have
Yeah.
heard me, I was cussing everybody out because I was getting pissed.
I mean, he still
As a
is this way. Don't let him. Don't let him lie. We hear him when he plays League. He's fucking cursing up a
oh yeah,
storm.
oh yeah. I don't type in chat though, so I can do that.
I know, I know. Oh, I mean, I do the same thing, dude. When I played Dota, I'd be like, fucking Crystal Maiden, use this fucking Frost Nova, you idiot, God.
especially when it's a character that you'd play and you
Yeah,
need to
that you're like an
get that.
expert at. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like you're like, why don't you have a fucking blink dagger? God, why'd you buy that item? You fucking stupid. Yeah, no, man.
so I will say the community is very nice to newer players. Um, there were some like WoW people trying to come over and make it their own and like um their own thing, but unfortunately, well, fortunately rather, there are no third party add-ons, so we don't really know who does the most damage, guys. I'm sorry, we can't get your your min maxing damage specs, guys.
Yeah, damage
Um,
meters.
yeah, damage
Yeah.
meters and stuff.
The
So
origin of online toxicity. Damage meters.
yes. So I will say that I actually like that. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I actually like that
Mhm.
because sometimes I know as a tank, I'm like sometimes I'll be lacking. Sometimes I'm like, listen, I gotta do what I gotta do to get through. Um, and I think that was the greatest move by Square Enix in the Final Fantasy 14 team to not allow third party add-ons.
Mhm.
Because they probably did see, and they probably were. I'm assuming this team they did play WoW and they did see the toxicity that was going
Oh yeah,
on.
definitely. Oh yeah.
Um,
They said
so
Yoshi P has said that WoW's like a huge inspiration for Realm Reborn, right? So
mhm.
he knows he took a lot of the good and left out a lot of the bad.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, because man, I mean, this community is like compared to other communities, like, and I'm being very honest, compared to like every other gaming community that I've been a part of, this community is by far nice. And when I say nice, I mean they don't fucking shit on you. Like they just leave you the fucking alone. They don't really talk to you like that or anything like that. That's how low the bar is for me. Like as far as like toxic community. Now, if you go on the Reddit forums, that's a different story. They're
Mm-hmm.
toxic as fuck.
Yeah.
But when actually playing in game stuff like that, um, yeah, we didn't run into any issues. Even when I was doing random dungeons and stuff like that, I didn't run
Mm-hmm.
into any issues.
Oh yeah,
When
people are
we
super nice, man.
yeah, when we
Yeah.
see someone who clearly didn't know what the fuck they were doing, I would cuss my party out. As far as in my Discord, I'll cuss Justin out randomly. He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm not even in your party." And I know I just like I cuss you out, Justin. Just let me cuss you out. But in the chat, I was like, "Hey, this is what you would do."
Yeah. No, I there was a dungeon I did. I was doing like a hardcore mode. I think I tried to do like savage fucking like Ramu or something randomly
Mhm.
one day. And I did it at item level, like not minimum item level, but it was scaled. I did it in scaled mode. And I remember we were doing it, and the person there was a person there that had done it before, and we were trying to do it, dude. It was so hard, and they were trying to explain the mechanics of the fight in chat, and it was so complicated. And I was starting to get it. It was like I was getting it. Like I was doing fine myself, but there were some party members, dude, that just weren't. They just couldn't figure it out. They kept dying to the same shit, and then we'd have a good run where we get them to like half HP or lower, and then we would die to a new mechanic that we hadn't run into before. And then we'd have like 3 or 4 wipes in a row because people started failing on the early fight shit again. It
Yeah.
was like it's like that hard. It requires that much coordination, and I was like, holy fuck, dude! Like this legitimately requires people to be on fucking comms. And like the funny part about it is Ramu is actually one of the hardest extreme modes from A Realm Reborn. because I remember watching Asmongold do that exact hard mode like a few weeks later, and it was literally the one he had the biggest amount of trouble with. And
Okay.
he does it without comms. Like he does it. He just invites people to the party, and he like expects them to be listening to him on stream.
Mm-hmm.
So he tries to lead a party with stream delay in a Final Fantasy raid. They finally got it, but it took them like 3 or 4 hours. It was nuts how hard it was, dude. It was crazy. So I picked like one of the worst hard modes to try first, but I remember we were there for over an hour though. Like people were pretty patient, and the guy trying to explain things was pretty patient. He got fed up at the end, and that's when the party dissolved. He said, "I'm sorry, guys, I gotta go." Like it's just like I'm done. I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with you guys anymore. But he was really polite though. He wasn't a dick to anybody. But it was yeah. So the games community is really cool for sure.
Yeah, and it's really accessible. So if you don't like
Mm-hmm.
playing with the mouse and keyboard, like I like playing MMOs with mouse and keyboards, but like my friend DJ and my friend Tori, they're not really big MMO players, so they love playing the MMO on their console,
Yep.
which I can't fucking do.
I do it. I do it too, man. I play 14 on my PS5 on controller.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's
You do that. Yeah.
it's super comfortable, dude. Like it works really well for me. The only thing I'll say about it is that I think healing would be impossible, but I haven't actually
Okay.
tried it, so I don't know for a fact. But being a DPS in a tank, I think is doable for sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm still a mouse and keyboard. I still have my my fucking 10 button mouse here, 10 or
Oh yeah.
15 button mouse.
Hmm.
So for design for MMOs, but I don't know. I think it's really the most accessible one. Even if you don't like MMOs or anything like that, you just like Final Fantasy. I say get into it, and just play it. Like it's a really good game,
Hmm.
and it's anyone can get into this game. Like anyone. That's
Yeah.
how accessible it is. Um, I know people who don't even play video games, and they're like, "Yeah, I play Final Fantasy 14 though. Like that's my shit." I'm like, "Oh,
Hmm.
really? Like that's the first
Yeah.
game you decided to play?" So
Hmm. Yeah.
I
Just be
discovered my
prepared.
uncle plays this game. My
Yeah.
uncle plays this fucking game. He doesn't play video games. He plays it.
Man, yeah, yeah. It's kind of a bummer, man. Because I wish my dad was still around. Because he would definitely play this game. I think with me. Um, but it's because it's just that accessible of an MMO. It's got that WoW type design that he was super into. So I think he would really enjoy this game
Okay.
if he had played it. But the only thing I'll caution people with is be prepared. If you're starting from zero, it the sheer amount of main story quest content is legitimately overwhelming. Like
Yes.
especially at this point with Endwalker now out as well, you have a fourth expansion that you have to get through. It is a fucking lot. Do not underestimate how much you have to do. It is hundreds of hours. Like I'm talking at least 200. Like that is legitimately that's like a realistic number that I think it would take you. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
100%. Um,
um
I would say once you pass the Realm Reborn patch content, like the post patch stuff, that really tested us because we weren't
yes.
actually we weren't prepared for it. So we should have did more research, but we weren't prepared for it. So I'm telling new players, like y'all got to prepare for that because it's a lot of post patch content that you got to get to. That's actually integral to the story as well. So you have to
Yep.
pay attention.
Yep.
If you're into the
Yep.
story, they do dumb it down in the later patches, and they kind of learned their lesson from that patch. But you still got to do the patches and stuff like that. So that's my only like word to caution.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, man. Well, that's everything we had listed, right? There any other games you want to talk about?
No, not at the moment, unfortunately.
Don't worry, there'll be new ones soon that we can talk
Yeah,
about.
Battlefield sucked. I mean, I don't know. That was for
Yeah,
post.
Battlefield suck. Call of
I
Duty
do want to
suck.
give an honorable mention to Halo.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that game's
definitely.
really fucking fun, and the
Mhm.
story. The storyline is actually really good too. The single player, really
Oh,
good.
have you been playing it?
Yeah, because I got the Series X now, bro. Oh yeah, that's my announcement. I got
Oh
the Series
yeah,
X, y'all.
you got you got Game Pass too, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
nice. Man, I gotta get back to my Xbox, dude. I've definitely neglected it lately. Because yeah, I wanted to play Halo too, the single player, but cool. I'm glad that's actually good. So, all right, everybody. Well, that is our games of the year for 2021. So, I'm expecting next year will probably be more of a traditional game of the year episode. That's kind of my expectation going into the year, but could be wrong. We'll see. So for those of you who like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, and please subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thundernut01, and the show is at the Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01 at gmail.com. That is it for us this week, guys. Like I said, next week will be a preview of 2022. So look forward to that. And then after that, it will more than likely be back to regular episodes. Hopefully, there's news to talk about. So we hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Happy New Year's.